Antibody drug conjugates exploit a specific binding properties of monoclonal antibodies as a mechanism for selective delivery of cytotoxic agents to tumor cells. There are two major types of payloads which are there in antibody drug conjugates. One is an antimitotic payload like auristatin, like MMAE, and the other group is DNA binding payloads like PBD dimers. The antimitotic payloads bind to tubulin, resulting in cell cycle arrest and subsequent apoptosis. And they've been frequently associated with peripheral neuropathy. The DNA binding payloads induce double-stranded DNA breaks. So in regards to lymphoma, three ADCs, brentuximab vedotin, polatuzumab vedotin, and loncastuximab tesirine are currently FDA approved for the treatment of lymphomas. We'll talk about brentuximab first. It's the one which came in, which is the first one amongst the list. It is an anti-CD30 antibody and then MMAE payload. CD30 is primarily expressed in Reed-Sternberg cells in classic Hodgkin lymphoma, in anaplastic large cell lymphoma, and in subsets of DLBCL and peripheral T-cell lymphoma. Now, in a non-Hodgkin lymphoma, brentuximab vedotin in combination with chemotherapy has been approved for previously untreated systemic anaplastic large cell lymphoma and other CD30 expressing PTCLs. This approval was based on results of the ECHELON-2 study, which randomized patients to brentuximab plus CHP versus CHOP. And there was a significant advantage in terms of both progression-free survival and overall survival with brentuximab CHP, which led to this being the standard of care compared to CHOP. In Hodgkin lymphoma, brentuximab vedotin is approved in frontline therapy of advanced Hodgkin lymphoma in combination with AVD based on data of the ECHELON-1 study, which showed superiority in terms of progression-free survival over standard ABVD. And a recent update at ASH showed that the progression-free survival advantage is maintained at a 5-year follow-up. And long-term follow-up also showed similar rate of second malignancies when compared to ABVD. And then in terms of fertility preservation, BV-AVD appeared to be similar to ABVD. BV is also approved in relapsed refractory Hodgkin lymphoma setting as consolidation after autologous stem cell transplant. And then BV is also approved as a single agent for relapsed refractory systemic anaplastic large cell lymphoma, primary cutaneous anaplastic large cell lymphoma, and CD30 expressing mycosis fungoides who have received prior systemic therapy. So in terms of future directions with brentuximab vedotin, it's been there now for almost a decade, this drug. And, there's a large randomized trial of BV-AVD versus Nivo-AVD conducted for newly diagnosed advanced stage frontline Hodgkin lymphoma through SWOG and the other cooperative groups. And it'll be very interesting to see the results of this study. This study has been accruing really good as expected, the results will really help us to identify the frontline treatment regimens for advanced Hodgkin lymphoma. In addition, I think there are some exciting combinations, such as the combination of brentuximab with nivolumab, which is also very promising. We need longer follow-up, but so far the data shows really great complete response rates in the salvage setting. So, those are the things to look for. And there's several other combinations with brentuximab, which are really interesting. The second antibody drug conjugate I'll talk about is polatuzumab vedotin. This is an ADC consisting of an anti-CD79B antibody conjugated to MMAE. And CD79B expression is limited to mature B cells and is a component of the BCR complex that drives receptor signaling. Polatuzumab vedotin has been approved for the treatment of relapsed refractory diffuse large cell lymphoma in combination with bendamustine and rituximab after greater than 2 prior therapies. And the approval is based on randomized trial in relapsed refractory DLBCL, where patients were randomized to either Pola-V in combination with bendamustine Rituxan or BR alone for 6 cycles. And those who received polatuzumab with BR had a significant higher CR rate, longer median progression-free survival, and overall survival compared to BR. Due to the relapse, the activity in the relapse refractory DLBCL in terms of future directions, a large randomized double-blinded placebo-controlled study, the POLARIX trial, randomized patients with newly diagnosed DLBCL to R-CHOP, which is the current standard, to POLA-V-R-CHP. So this study has now completed accrual and the results are pending. POLA-V is also being tested in combination with CD20, CD3 bispecific antibodies such as mosunetuzumab, and this was just presented at ASCO and EHA, showing really, very high CR rate as well as, some durable responses in a relatively refractory population of BNHL, primarily with aggressive B-cell lymphomas. POLA-V has also been combined with lenalidomide, and that was also presented, recently at ASCO in combination with Rituxan. So Rituxan, POLA, and lenalidomide. The CR rate on the study was 29%, and CRs appeared to be durable, although follow-up is short. So a lot of interesting combinations with polatuzumab vedotin coming up, and this is a very promising drug in B-cell lymphoma. And the third one, which is the new kid in the block, is loncastuximab tesirine, which is a PBD dimer-based CD19 targeted ADC and is approved for the treatment of relapsed refractory DLBCL after 2 prior therapies. And loncastuximab, which I'll call as Lonca, was evaluated in patients with relapsed refractory B non-Hodgkin lymphoma in the LOTUS-2 study with a overall response rate of 48% and a CR rate of 24%. Adverse events with this included fatigue, neutropenia, thrombocytopenia, edema, liver abnormalities, especially GGT, which we actually don't land up measuring as a standard for many in our standard practice that much, but they did land up seeing GGT abnormalities, and then nausea, rash, and dyspnea. So at the ASCO meeting, a subgroup analysis of the LOTUS-2 study was presented, which showed that in heavily pretreated patients with aggressive B-cell lymphoma, durable responses were obtained. The median duration of response was 13.4 months, but for patients who achieved complete remission, the median duration of response was not reached. Interestingly, the median duration of response was longer for older patients, and the AEs were not any worse for older patients. So another promising antibody drug conjugate in B-cell non-Hodgkin lymphoma, and another CD19 based target. So in terms of future for this drug, there's a phase 3 randomized study called the LOTUS-5 study of Lonca plus Rituxan versus standard immunochemotherapy with Rituxan GemOx in relapsed refractory DLBCL. So this one, would be a good study to follow. And then there are other studies being planned of using Lonca, comparing it with other chemotherapies or other existing therapies and seeing, what kind of results we get with Lonca. But again, I think another very promising ADC in lymphomas. So I guess to summarize, I would say by harnessing antibody antigen interactions to deliver cytotoxics preferentially to tumor cells, ADCs can maximize efficacy and minimize toxicity. Advancements in linker technology and conjugation strategies could lead to development of more potent ADCs with lower toxicity.